So, this is editing me, introing the vlog. We've got panda eyes. Ignore that. Welcome back to another vlog. I'm VA Winter. I'm an indie author, essay writer. Substack is linked down below, as is my debut novel, Firewitch. Welcome to another weekly vlog. I did record an intro clip and then I think I accidentally deleted it because I was having a clear out of my iCloud storage. I had too much in there and they were trying to make me pay more. So I had a clear out of old videos and I think I accidentally deleted the intro clip. So this is the intro clip. Let's cast my mind back to last week. I was working on, or I'm still working on book 2 to Firewitch. I'm also working on a essay, which is kind of a reintroduction to my pages of my TBR project, in which I attempt to read my actual TBR, which has over 400 books on it, and I keep buying more, so that's not helping anything. So I'm working on that. It's sort of like an article that's kind of an introduction to that, but also talking about commonplace books and polymaths and personal curriculums. So I need to edit that. But I'm mostly in this vlog working on book 2. It has a deadline of the 1st of September. It's going to the copy editor, which means I need to finish developmental edits, which we're nearly there. Progress is being made. Can't remember what I started out the vlog at, but I know that I started the week out at about 43,000 words, and progress is made, as you will see in a moment. I'm also currently watching IncasCon, which is an online writing conference. I'm still watching 2025's videos because of course I am. That's kind of primarily what I'm doing. IncasCon, book 2, and I think that's mostly it in this vlog, to be fair. So on we go with the vlog. It's Saturday afternoon. I came on here to say I was working on book 2 this morning. I am now at nearly 49. I'm about 100 words off 49,000 words, but I got stuck. So I'm taking a break to have a think. It's just a piece of dialogue. I just need a very specific piece of dialogue in a scene that has. I'm rewriting the scene itself, sort of in a slightly different context. The piece of dialogue that was in the scene doesn't make sense anymore, but it's a very poignant piece of dialogue, and I just need something equally as brilliant to replace it. And I'm struggling to think of what that is right now, so I'm letting it percolate in the back of my head. So I'm working on my pages of my TBR, personal curriculum, commonplace books, polymaths article that needs an actual title, but I need to actually write it first. I've read a couple of books on polymaths. I've read a couple of books on commonplace books and notebooks in general. I was trying to have a look at, see whether there was anyone talking about the personal curriculum trend online, see if there's anything that's like a sort of analysis of it, of the motivations behind it, kind of a bit of a theory of why it became such a trend. And it's still kind of not, I don't think it's as much of a trend as it was last autumn, but whether it'll come back around again this autumn as we kind of get into back to school season, I don't know. But I was trying to have a look. Anyway, I was Googling basically to see if I could find something. And like 2 things I've come across that could potentially have been useful, but they're behind a paywall. And then I was just sitting here thinking to myself, I think paywalls are the most irritating thing on the internet. Like, I understand why they're there, because the idea is that you come across something that you really want to read and then you pay to read it. But I'm not going to sign up for a monthly subscription just to read one article by somebody and then what? I hate them. And even when it comes to my own Substack, like obviously eventually I want to monetize it, but I don't think paywalls. If there's certain types of article or a certain thing that is paywalled, just from the beginning, paywalled, that's different than when you got sort of like you're allowed to read the first couple of paragraphs and then paywall. That's incredibly irritating, and I just find it really irritating. As I say, I understand why people do it. I understand the point of it. I understand how it's supposed to work. I think it works within an ecosystem in a sense a bit like Substack, because you keep coming across the same. So if you follow somebody, subscribe to somebody for free, and then you sort of keep seeing their paywall stuff pop up, and then eventually, if you're that interested in it, you'll think to yourself, oh, maybe I will start paying so I can read the extra because I'm really enjoying what they're putting out for free. But when you're just Googling on the internet and you just keep coming across things that appear in Google search terms, but they're paywalled, it's incredibly annoying. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing this afternoon. I'm aiming to get a full draft of this article done this afternoon, essay, whatever you want to call it. I never really know what to call it. So I'm going to go on and actually carry on with that now I've had that little moan about paywalls. So I have been working on book 2 earlier today, which you just saw, and I got stuck again. So they've printed out another version of the outline, and I've been working in my notebook to try and figure it out again. It's just kind of getting a few chapters and then thinking, okay, what I've written doesn't entirely lend itself to what I had originally thought would be next. So it is just taking the time to stop and re-outline. So hopefully this is it, because this goes right up to the end. We're firmly in Act 3, which is the bad guys close in beat for Save the Cat, heading towards the break into 3, which is actually a break into 4 for me because I do 4-act structure. So Act 3 is the second half of Act 2 in traditional 3-act structure, and Act 4 is Act 3. Nearly at 52,000 words, so we are getting there. I can see the end in sight. I'm getting quite excited to get to the end because it's about time. I'm liking it a lot better, which, you know, you should. With each new version that you do, it should get better, and it should feel better, and it should read better, which I think it does. The goals are a lot clearer for the characters. The plot is a lot clearer. It all kind of is starting to come together. Not perfectly, because nothing's ever perfect, and the book won't be perfect. I had I don't know, last night before, I think it might have been Friday night, where I just felt like it's all rubbish, it's all stupid, it's all not very good, so why am I even bothering? I had one of those moments again of like being my own harshest critic. And I think there's an element of the more you know, the more you can look at your own work and criticise it. And this is certainly true in my day job. As I have gotten more knowledgeable about what I do, I'm more able to look at what I have done and know the parts that I've gotten wrong, or know the parts that I haven't done as well as I could have done, or some things that I've missed. I, come to the end of sort of what I'm doing, and I look back on it and I think, well, yeah, I didn't do that, and I'm not sure I did that really very well. And so I think the more you know, the more you can criticise yourself. The sort of more I understand about literature, the more I read, really good books and think about what they're doing and how they're doing it, the more I look at my own skill level and think, well, yeah, no, I'm not as good as a, Booker Prize winning novelist. That's the goal, but I'm not. And the reality is that there's a lot of writers out there who aren't. It's not like everybody is at level 10 and I'm only at level 1. And I'm no more than a lot of people. A lot of people just starting out don't know as much as me. They're further behind in the process. Like, if I think about where I was 10 years ago, I didn't know as much as I know now. It wasn't as good as good God, if I'd published the first book that I wrote for NaNoWriMo in 2013, that was not good. I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know about story structure. I knew beginning, middle, and end. I hadn't outlined it. It was full of plot holes. I still loved the story and loved the characters, and I want to come back to it at some point. But it was not very good. Even just the writing itself is not very good. And I had a lot of fun writing that book. And I had a lot of fun writing the books that came after. And I think it was as I started to understand structure and understand the theory of writing a bit more, and did a lot of reading writing craft books and things like that, that I started to look at my own work and think, it's not very good. Fire Witch is 10 times, 100 times better than that first book back in 2013. And this book will be better than Fire Witch. And book 3 will be better than this book. And then the next book will be better than all of them. And that's how it goes. And accepting that and just living with it and knowing it is hard. But I'm also my own worst critic. The only way out is through. So we're going to keep going. Anyway, the life of a writer. So I'm going to go back to the computer, I think, now. I've just been sitting here working this out. I'm going to go back to my computer, input these changes into the outline. It's about 2 o'clock. I did draft yesterday the first version, the sort of first draft of my TBR type essay, personal curriculum essay. So that is done. It needs editing. There are a few bits that I left in sort of brackets, add this here or check this here, add a citation, add a reference. So I need to do that, and I just need to make sure it reads properly and makes sense and all the rest of it. I also did say to myself that I would film that this afternoon. I just don't think I can be bothered, which is really bad. So I might leave that for another day. And I am so far behind on this, on publishing and writing, that I just think if I can sit down and do a bit more this afternoon, that's not a bad thing. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Either way, I'm going to put this into the outline, and then I think I'll see how I feel. That's interesting lighting. I'm very faded. I'm assuming it's the fact that it's quite cloudy outside and it's nearly 8:30. As I was explaining, I needed to re-outline a few chapters of book 2. I did that. I just focused on getting that re-outlined. That took a chunk of the afternoon, and then I just got myself unstuck from a certain paragraph in a chapter that I had a small mini meltdown over, just got stuck, and I got frustrated that I was stuck because I was just trying different things and it wasn't working, and I had to just go further, back up, delete, and carry on again. I've watched a Incas Concession this evening by Becca Syme. I've never really listened to anything Becca Syme has done before. If the rest of her stuff is like what I've just watched, it's pretty interesting. I've written nearly 10,000 words this week, so 9,567. So still a few hundred to 10,000, but that is really good. I'm really pleased with that. So that's good progress. I'm sitting at 52,500 words. So progress has been made. I need to make a lot more progress over the next couple of weeks if I'm going to hit my sort of self-imposed deadline of getting the book read through in a couple of weeks. So that means I've got to write about 15,000 words this week and next, which I don't know whether is doable, but I'm gonna try. If other things have to go to the wayside in order to get this done, then they do. This is the priority. The writing is always the priority. I'm still reading Susan Sontag's journals. I'm still in the middle of that. I haven't really read much this week, I will say. I've got a lot of things I want to do, and a schedule I don't think is particularly a helpful tool for me at the moment with this, so content is just going to come out when it comes out. Essays, videos, books, they're just going to come out when they come out. That's me done, so I'm going to shut up rambling. I think I've said everything I need to say. Hello and good morning. We're on 54,000 words. I've just hit 54,000 words this morning. It's Tuesday. Oh, this chair. It's Tuesday morning, Tuesday the 28th. It's 28th of July, and it's still too warm. The heat is not stopping here in the UK. This week, I am hoping to get to 65,000 words at least. I'm trying to, push through as much of this as possible. As quickly as possible, but still maintaining, the idea that I don't have a later to come back and fix this. If I have an issue, I've got to fix it here and then, and I really need to take that attitude forward, I think, into future drafts of future books, of stop leaving problems to later me, because it just causes more problems down the line and takes extra time to fix. So yeah, there's a lesson in this. I need to go get ready for work. Another day in the office, and I will check in with you when there is something to check in with. So, I don't even know what's happened to this week. It's Saturday afternoon currently. It's nearly 4 o'clock and I am writing. Was I supposed to be writing this afternoon? No. Am I writing this afternoon anyway? Yes. So, I wrote this morning, I've written this afternoon, and I'm currently at just over 4,000 words for the day, and I'm at 60,000 words in total. I have had a relatively good week, actually, writing-wise. I've written most days. A Thursday sort of went a bit pear-shaped. The rest of the week I've actually not done too badly on, to be fair. I just can feel my deadline looming, and I also can see the end in sight. So as I said, I'm at 60,000 words. I'm estimating the book will be 80,000. I'm on chapter 20, and there's 30 chapters. So I'm literally about to head into Act 4, which is Act 3 in traditional 3-act structure. So the little final segment, the climax, the sort of really traumatic, all is lost and dark night of the soul, and then into the climax. I'm sort of at that point, so I can see the end in sight. Whenever I get to the end of a draft, I'm always much more excited to work on it and much more motivated to work on it because I can see the end in sight. So I should have about another hour of writing to do. So I might get to 61,000 words. Should get to 61,000 words, and then we'll see what we can do tomorrow. I think there's going to be a few last kinks to work out when I do the final read through. I was just thinking to myself there might be one or two small plot holes that have developed, or potential sort of things that have gotten a little bit mixed up and missed in developing the thread because I've winged half of this draft. I started out with a lovely plan and then the plan kept going haywire. So I've kind of changed the plot a few times. So I'm a bit concerned that there might be one or two threads that may have gotten dropped or just may need just sort of making sure that they are being pulled through the entire story. That's what the final read through and final draft is for. I don't think there's much else really changed. I've spent most of my time on this story. I really, really have, in one way, shape or form, just because I just need it finished. On the other hand, I have finally finished reading Volume 2 of Susan Sontag's diaries. Apparently there isn't a Volume 3 currently. It's been annoying. 4 books in July. I've read 4 books in July. It's obviously the 1st of August today. I'm not happy with 4 books in July, but it's fine. It is what it is. I've written about 4,000 words altogether in July in this draft. There you go. Some July stats. So I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna go do some writing again and say something when there's something to say. Thought I'd have a change of scenery, and I also want to show you a couple of books. I've just hit 65,000 words on book 2. We're at the All Is Lost, Darkest Night of the Soul. I did get a little bit stuck, but it was only a little bit stuck, so I've managed to get myself unstuck. So that is that. So that is kind of where I'm going to get to basically this week. This afternoon, I'm going to edit this and get this actually posted. As much as this part of me wants to carry on with writing, I really need to get this done and out and start again fresh next week. I've started the brief for the cover design. I just need to finalise it and make sure I'm happy with it before I send it off. So then we will be getting a cover. So the books that I wanted to show you that I went out this morning to collect from a Royal Mail parcel locker thingy that's not too far away from me. They're quite convenient. I like them. On a complete side note, I've got the Odyssey and the Iliad by Emily Wilson, the translations that she did with the lovely deckled edges. I know deckled edges are a little bit controversial, but I love them. I would love to have a book published one day with deckled edges, but I'm not 100% sure it's possible being self-published. Book Vault might do it, I don't know. But yeah, they're so pretty. They're huge, but they're pretty. I'm going to do a project on this once the Odyssey comes to streaming, and I've been wanting to get a copy of these books for ages, so I just thought I'd just do it. The Booker longlist was announced earlier this week, and I have decided I want to read the longlist. I've already got one of the books that was listed, so this one. I want to read the rest. So there's 13 books. I've got roughly 14 weeks before the prize is announced. I don't think I'm going to get them read before the shortlist is announced in September, but as long as I can read them before the actual prize is announced in November, that's what I'm aiming for. I'm going to do it this year, and the idea is that I'm going to do it every year going forward, is read all of the Booker Prize longlisted books. I'm going to be posting, I'm calling them mini essays of the books that I read as part of this. When I finish one, I'm going to post a mini essay on my Substack. It's not going to be hugely in-depth, it's just, this is what I found interesting about the book. This is kind of what I thought about the book. Again, we're not reviewing, but that's what I'm going to be doing. Those aren't going to be made into YouTube videos because they're going to be so short, it won't be worth doing it. I'll try and remember as I'm actually vlogging to talk about what I'm reading on here and just sort of do it that way on this channel. if you do want to read that, Substack is linked below as per usual, but otherwise I think I'm going to end the video here. So if you did like the video, hit like. If you want to see more, subscribe, and I will see you next time with another video.